Facts only, we're talking
Yes,
Burna
sir.
Boy. Another BT award.
Shout out to Burna Boy, man.
3P.
3 Peats, bro. That's
Like
some Jordan. That's some Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been fantastic if you had done the video now.
Yeah.
And put the 3
put the
Peats.
3P there.
That would have been fantastic.
What does this 3P mean for Burna Boy? His place in contemporary Nigerian music, and what does it do to his greatness, considering the fact that he just won a Grammy?
In the first 10 years so there's a 2010 generation, they're the superstars now, the top 6. Like how we like to call them. That's Wiz, David, Olamide, Tiwa Savage, Burna Boy, Yemi Alade. That's the top 5. I mean, that's the top 6, right? The 2010, they are the ones that basically came in with the era of contemporary Nigerian pop music. But the thing is this, all of those guys, even Yemi Alade, had distinctive superstar runs. Only Burna Boy didn't exactly have it. When those guys seemed to be, they had gotten to their zenith, that was when Burna Boy's run started. Even though he was never anonymous, but it was just not on their level. But from like 2018, Burna Boy got to another level entirely. So that was why when we put Burna Boy on the list of artists of the decade, a lot of people had a problem with it. But they failed to realize that, look, even though Burna Boy didn't have as much of an identity as these guys, he still had an identity. He was giving people hits. He was even giving people Airboy, featured on Airboy's record. An Airboy record, because he was Burna Boy. So, but now these days, Burna Boy is firmly in the halls of greatness. You can't shake him. It's not even about just history recognizing Burna Boy now. It's about the fact that Burna Boy is a bona fide superstar. And right now, the problem is nobody has, maybe except Wizkid, nobody has used their superstar role to dominate all forms of conversation like Burna Boy. Even Wizkid, as much as Wizkid dominated Nigeria and parts of Africa, he never had the global run that Burna Boy had. Burna Boy has the Nigerian run, he has the African run, he has the European run, he has the American run. It's crazy. Over the last 3 years, Burna Boy's run has been crazy. You literally can't say we've seen this before. You can't. Because of the perspective that's going to come into it. Yes, Wizkid, Davido, Olamide, all those guys, Tiwa Savage, they had their respective runs. But Burna Boy ticks every box now. He has now crowned it with a Grammy and 3 BET Awards on the bounce. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So does this represent his dominance, this award?
Yeah.
Of Afrobeats?
Oh, it does.
Is this the outright face of Afrobeats?
We have done 2 articles about this. We have done facts only episodes about it as well. We have mentioned it on several episodes that relate to Burna Boy about Burna Boy being the face of Afrobeats. When we wrote the article, a lot of people were arguing that, it's Wizkid, it's Davido, because Davido has 4, because what makes someone the face of a movement? It's not about you having hits. It's not about you being signed to a foreign label. It's not about you also being in interview circuits. Anybody that's sensitive enough to see a push will see it. American music capitalism operates a very, very methodical madness. Wizkid had his, didn't work out for 2 reasons. This music wasn't exactly great because the A&R of the music didn't reflect the strengths of the artists. And it also alienated his own fan base. And the foreign fan base that they were trying to push him to didn't exactly record with the music as much because it was alien to them. And again, the market was also not ready for him. Davido, the same thing. But guess what? Davido then after Davido came back here, he then had 4, which is going to be certified platinum very soon. Shout out to Davido for that, by the way. But Burna Boy, what happened to Davido and Burna and Wizkid allowed American music capitalism to be familiar with what was required for an African artist. And Burna Boy, being who he is Burna Boy is a pristine talent. I was speaking with an OG recently, and he says, it's very simple that there are 3 pristine talents that this country has seen. That the Kida one is Two-Face, Wande Cool, and Burna Boy. They can go on anything and fucking murder it. It's just what it is. The second kid that he's saying is people like Peruzzi and South Sultan, because they can also do all those things. But they're also very, very good songwriters. That's what he's saying. And you can't argue with that. It's a very, very sensible conversation. So, Burna Boy, being who he is, walks directly into that. He was at the top of his game. He was about to enter his peak. So there was an alignment of stars for Burna Boy getting into that space. He was informed. He was going to start making the greatest music of his career. The American music capitalism recognized his talent. Right. He had a label by Matthew Boss. We did an article about how Matthew Boss said he found him. He said, I saw Wizkid and I was like, no, that's not it. He said, when I saw Burna Boy, I didn't even know it was Nigerian. That's how Burna Boy, like the moment you hear him, you know, this guy is special, right? And then the branding itself is crazy. And then his team, his overall team, everything aligned for Burna Boy to be here. And then you would then see the positioning. What Burna Boy has from major label, in terms of major label push, Wiz and David never had it. They never did. You can say Burna Boy was on every possible major interview circuit that you could think of, both in print, online, radio, TV, everything that you can think of. Burna Boy had a Spotify did a Burna Bank when he released African Giants. That's push like nothing you've seen before. And you can understand that because it's also a major label tussle thing. Warner said, oh wow, this guy is also popping in his own country. Let's go. And it's easy to a guy that can blend with almost anything. He gave a hit. Location, people are going to say location is a Dave hit, but Burna Boy made that record. Pull Burna Boy out of that record is nothing. Right? So that's, and then it also gives Stormzy one. Ed Sheeran was on it, but yeah, if you pull Burna Boy out of that record is nothing as well. That is special. So everything aligned for Burna Boy to be the face of Afrobeats. Like, even though David and Wiz were signed to it, Burna Boy, everything that recognizes that represents a push and a superstar, Burna Boy had everything and ticks all the boxes.
Talking about Wizkid, he's having a moment right now with Made in Lagos, the Essence, the record featuring Thames, you know, that's going, you know, even the US. So right now, he has the most popular song, Nigerian song in the international market. Where does that put him in this whole conversation?
Man, it's funny. It's funny. First, if I'm going to talk about it from, again, American music capitalism. What is music capitalism? It involves major label, the money, the finances, the representation, and the push. It's all about market share. Can we control the market share? Only 3 labels control the world in terms of like market share and effort and push. Universal, Sony, and Warner. David and Wiz are signed to Sony. Even though David signed to Columbia, Wiz is signed to RCA. Both are subsidiaries of Sony Music. Burna is signed to Bad Habits, Atlantic. Atlantic is a subsidiary of Warner. So Warner has a superstar, a Grammy-winning superstar, who was Grammy nominated in 2020, right? In 2019, going into 2020. He lost the Grammy. But he came right back for the Grammy, right? Wiz has Made in Lagos. He has been tweeting Made in Lagos for a long time. He's also he's also a superstar. He released Joro. Joro wasn't even on Made in Lagos. Do you know the numbers of Joro on YouTube? Joro has over 120 million streams on YouTube. That's crazy, right? It then becomes, how do we then own ours in this market? We already have this guy, we've experimented with him. How do we then revitalize him to come and do something for us? Made in Lagos drops. Good album. A lot of people might have arguments that it's not exact, in terms of what makes a quality album, it's not as good an album as Twice as Tall. But here's the thing. Made in Lagos is filled with more accessible, recognizable, relatable music to Africans, Caribbean people, and all of that. Whereas Twice as Tall was 100% a calculated Grammy move. 100%. Even the singles were not made for us. They were calculated Grammy moves. The videos, everything. Made in Lagos drops. You didn't exactly see it didn't seem like there was major label push at the start. It was also unfortunate that the album dropped right after NSAS protest. Even Wiz had to postpone it, if you remember. He had to postpone the release date. But all of a sudden, by January 2020, no, starting around December, so I seen superstars post about Made in Lagos. Here. By February, almost every week, one major American star with incredible following tweets talks about Made in Lagos. Over the past 3 weeks, you've seen Saweetie talk about Made in Lagos. We've seen Kevin Hart dance to Essence. We've seen Chloe and her best friend dance to Essence. We've seen Kylie Jenner dance to Essence. What this represents is that what Wiz didn't have at the time, he has it now. You'll just see someone come and say, Made in Lagos is the greatest album ever. The album is good. But guess what? The idea of we are pushing our guy now, you can see it also there. It's hidden in plain sight, but if you are sensitive enough to know what a push is, you're going to say, it's pushed via influencer marketing. Although Burna Boy charted at number 54 on the Billboard 200, Wiz only charted at number 90, 98 or thereabouts. Okay. All those things, yes. But you can literally see that there is something brewing about Wizkid now. You can literally see it. It didn't seem like it before, but you can see it now. And the Grammy win that he got with Brown Skin Girl came at the perfect time. It was so perfectly timed. Just as Burna Boy dropped twice as store, right? But on Apple Music, since Made in Lagos dropped, you can argue that it's been Africa's #1 album across platforms. You can argue on Apple Music. Because if Made in Lagos, if it comes down, it's going to go back up. If it comes back because of someone's new release, give it a few weeks or a few days, it's coming back to #1. The power of Wizkid's superstardom. Wizkid is bigger than Burna Boy here. The power of his superstardom and the kind of relatable music he made with Made in Lagos is propelling a different push entirely for him. Made in Lagos currently on Spotify is the most streamed African album ever. Even though it was twice as tall before. Mm-hmm. And Made in Lagos dropped about 2 or 3 months after Twice as Tall. Twice as Tall dropped in August. Made in Lagos dropped in October. It's not exactly clear that Wiz is now the face of Afrobeats. But here's the thing. Before, Burna Boy was so far ahead of everybody in terms of being the face of Afrobeats. Now Wiz is coming back. It's closing. It's still Burna, but it's closing up. In terms of streaming numbers, you can say, Burna is still, Burna's Twice as Tall is the most streamed album ever on Bootleg. It's the most streamed African album ever on Audiomack. It has about 204 million streams. Wiz has about 150 something million streams on Audiomack. But guess what? The most streamed album of them, Song on Audiomack, coincidentally, Song on Audiomack is Ginger featuring Burna Boy. Yeah. Very interesting, isn't it? So thinking about it, did Burna Boy have any role to play in that Wizkid's re-emergence? Yeah, you can say that. You can say that. A lot of people are going to argue that Burna's calculated move with Twice as Tall, he sacrificed a lot. He sacrificed the home end for that. He sacrificed commercial appeal for that album. It might not be wrong, but here's the thing. Made in Lagos is so good that even if Burna Boy had released a commercially resonant album, nothing suggests that Made in Lagos still wouldn't have had this role. That's it. Okay. Is Burna's place under threat because of Wizkid's re-emergence? Right now, I don't say it's a thing of a threat thing. It usually looks like there's only space for one person, and it's usually the space is also always like one person is always ahead of the other people. Yeah. But where it's probably going to go by the next few years is we're probably going to see the two of them. Okay. Almost on the same level. But guess what? Wiz is not just even making for Made in Lagos anymore. They're even using Essence, which is a song from Made in Lagos, to establish Thames' career in foreign markets. Yeah. Okay. That's the conversation about Thames. That's the conversation. Yeah. What will Grammy, the category, the world music category look like? For Grammy 2020? It could be very informative, actually, in terms of, it could be very, very informative. Who's the clear favorite right now? In terms of from the Nigerian perspective, actually. From the Nigerian, Burna is a Grammy baby. But he does not have an album right now. He doesn't have an album right now, but he's been nominated in the past 2 editions. His last 2 albums have been nominated. But they can't nominate his past 2 albums again. No, he's going to release an album. Okay, so you're saying if he releases an album, he's the outright favorite. Here's the thing, it's the Grammys, the Academy, we have said it several times on the show. The Grammys, there's a method to their madness. Angelique Kidjo also dropped an album recently. And I was speaking with someone close to that situation recently. And the person was telling me that, look, the moment they can recognize you and the music speaks a certain way to them, you are going to become their favorites. And we've said it several times on the show. Burna Boy, his music is sociopolitically charged. The sound is crazy. His talent speaks. You can't hear Burna Boy's music and not ask questions like, who is that guy? So it will be very unlikely that Burna Boy's next album is not going to get a nomination. The next album is not going to get a nomination. It's very, very unlikely. But guess what? Wiz has also won a Grammy now. Even though we might say that Beyonce, being the biggest Grammy baby of all, is the reason why that award came in. And that would not be wrong. But guess what? Essence is having a mad run right now. And a lot of people are saying maybe Made in Lagos can get a Grammy nomination. The thing is this, in terms of Grammy material, Made in Lagos doesn't exactly ooze, quote and unquote, Grammy material. But the Grammys have shown us that they can go against their own model. Even with Burna Boy's win for Twice as Tall, it was a surprise. The win was a surprise. With the rap categories this year, the categories were surprising. You had Freddie Gibbs getting nomination. You had D-Smoke getting nomination. All those things are crazy, right? So if Wizkid were to get a Grammy nomination, it's not going to be surprising, but it's going to be unexpected.
Okay.
But here's what I can say. There's a new category now for Best Global Music Performance for the songs.
Yeah.
It's likely that Essence is going to get a nomination there. Africa's favorite for that category would have been Jerusalem. But Jerusalem is not in the year review. Yeah. That's the sad part. But Angelique Kidjo has also released a song like Dignity featuring Yemi Alade, who also has the entire branding that oozes all Africa Grammy favorites. Right? So it's likely that Dignity might get a nomination. But Essence is likely to get a nomination. But the thing is this, Angelique Kidjo has dropped an album. Burna Boy is going to drop an album. Wizzy has Made in Lagos. Is it likely that we're going to see 3 African albums on the Grammy list? No. That's 3 African pop albums.
On the category?
Not likely.
Okay.
Not likely. Not very likely. But what is going to mean, if the 2 of them then get a nomination, which is not impossible, it's going to offer us an insight into where the conversation around the face of Afrobeats is headed. And that's facts.